That's why I love Nestle Crunch. Ah! Hallo, fitty human. Hallo, it's me, Aragon Tape. Uh, not gonna do that. What's up, filthy human? It's me, Arrogant Ape, and I've got a book. I got a book. It's by a guy who makes books, and it's not that bad. Yeah, that's just a glowing review, isn't it? He's a guy who's made books before. This is Nasser Rabadi's Secret Comics Presents. Oh, it's just called Secret Comics Presents. Sounds like subtitle. Where no, this is the subtitle. Um, yeah. So it's a horror comic anthology. Anthologies are tricky, man. Anthologies are tricky because story to story you might have something that's quality, but more often than not you end up with something that's in majority like especially if they're not continuing stories, because you basically have to wrap up a horror story in like 2 pages. And it can be done. It can be done pretty effectively. So anthologies are kind of hit and miss, meaning that every story is a potential hit or a potential miss. I was reading Speed of Light, I think it's called, which is a sci-fi anthology. And the basic conclusion I came to is that every story that stopped in that first issue was anywhere from okay to not that memorable. The stories that could continue on had potential, at least. It's really hard to do a story in 2 or 3 pages. It can be done. It can be done effectively. I don't know that it was quite done in this book. Now, before I go on about the quality of this book, the cover, the interiors, anything at all, I just want to say, whether you say Hail Nasser or F Nasser, you guys got to admit, this guy delivers his books. This isn't the first book I've gotten from him. The other one was the that German expressionist vampire one. I'm laughing because I really wanted to try to read it, but I couldn't do it without laughing. And I'm not trying to be mean. It's just Ethan Van Sciver did like a read through of it, and he was dying, bro. He had me dying. So I can't. It's gonna take me another year until I can tackle that one. But it's Halloween time, and this came out not too long ago, so I thought this was pretty good timing. All right, yeah, let's dive into it. So, like I said, inspired by anthologies such as like Tales from the Crypt or Tales from the Dark Side, which I'm going to bring up again later. I can't really speak to how those stories were presented, how they unfolded, what kind of quality they were, because I didn't read a lot of those comics. I really wasn't allowed horror comics at a young age. So this really is like among my first exposure to horror anthology that I know of. So looking at the cover, I like this gimmick where it's the cover within the cover within the cover until finally kind of fades out. I think that's a cool gimmick. I thought that the teeth over here were actually a crown, and I was like, "What's Princess Peach doing on this cover?" Don't know if you can get away with that, Nasser. Okay, so we got art, letters, and layout by Jason Robinson. Jason Robinson, did a pretty fair job. Everything was pretty clear in here. He's how do I put this? He's got a type. And I think that'll be revealed later on, unless Nasser had some sort of a insight, or rather an oversight as to the anatomy of some of the people in this book. So Nasser, he did all these stories. I thought this was like a bit of poetry at first, but these are the stories that he was writing. It was like, Charlie finds a friend. There's nothing to be scared of. Don't open the box. A knife in darkness. It sounds like poetry, like bad poetry, but no, these are the titles of the stories. And then we got Roy Guntherson, Don't Open the Box. So, while I didn't read the like Tales from the Crypt comics, I did watch the show every once in a while. And, if you're going to do a comics horror anthology or horror anthology of any type, you got to have some sort of a creepy narrator, right? So here comes Nasser Razambi, And he's telling us, "Tonight we have 4 chilling tales to terrify you." I don't know if that's how he sounds. I forget. It's been a while since I've seen a Nasser stream. Okay, look, I know very little about the guy, but he seems pretty good. And like I said, he fulfills his books on time. He does a great job with that. Uh, we've got some gravestones here. Nasser Rabadi, permanently kicked. Okay, yeah, that there's some lore there. And then mainstream comics. There's probably room for more tombstones here. You could put like Shane Davis's Dignity, Cecil's Standards, maybe one in back for EVS's Peloton. I don't know. I feel like if you're going to go with a jokey panel, get a few more jokes, but that's pretty solid. Mainstream comics, rest in peace. There's a shovel guy. There's got to be some lore there. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, our narrator goes on. There'll be ghosts, the unknown, and perhaps a happy ending. Oh my. But one thing's for certain. We are bound to lose a few heads. Kind of lame. But, I forget how old Nasser is. He's still kind of young. He's got that young humor. It's fine. But, look, if you're going to do a Crypt Keeper thing, you got to play it up a little bit. Like, let me ask you a question. We'll revisit that tomorrow. Tonight we learn summoning a demon can have grave consequences. Sit down for a spell as I weave you a tale of toil and trouble. Some might say I have no standards. Some might call me a hypocrite. Anyway, bad joke. So many bad jokes aside, we come to the first story called Charlie Finds a Friend. This one actually wasn't too bad, and I think part of it is that I think it had the most time. It had the most panels, the most pages, and it was fairly well done. So we've got Charlie, who's kind of a abandoned, abused little boy, coming into his father's basement, and he sees some smut on the wall. How far back does this go? We've got this old radio. We've got pinup girls taped to the wall. Like, what era is this? And what did he use those tissues for? This is gross. This kid should not be here. I think that this story uses the visual medium in the best way to tell a story. Basically, Charlie, he hears this radio. It tells him some things, says, come on, let's go play. Come on, don't you want to go play for a little bit with the children? Let's go. And Daddy don't like it. He says, "What I tell you about coming down here?" Is that Carl from Aqua Teen Hunger Force? That's pretty funny. So, he's a bit forceful with the kid. We see here some visual storytelling, obviously the radio waves going throughout. But also we see that, the kid's got a bandage. Obviously his dad is abusing him. He's not afraid to raise a fist. The kid, he makes a connection with this radio. Uh-oh. Did the battery in my rental die? Okay, crisis averted. I really should do as Steve says and just like park at a Carl's Jr. They probably have better lighting. Anywho, so yeah, the kid has a great time with his little friend, the radio. And all the while, by the way, I should say the dialogue is, it's a little poem, or at least it's meant to rhyme. Everything rhymes. I won't knock them for that. Some people, they write poetry and they go, they say something like, and he drove to the ocean shore and met with his girl for sure. And it's like, no, those don't rhyme. No, everything in here rhymes, but the rhymes are, they're fine. Like I said, Nasser is kind of young. Anywho, turns out that this radio holds the spirit of this little boy who done got buried by Big Bad Daddy. I really like this. I got to say, the artist really pulled it off in a few panels. Some of it looks like really convincingly kind of horrifying. So yeah, Daddy finds him, and Daddy don't like it. Daddy don't like it one bit. It's a whole lot of back fat, man. Like, I told my wife, if I get to this point, like, leave me. Not the burying kid thing. Like, that'll happen. But I mean, like, this fat. Like, just leave me. So we get to the next story. There's nothing to be scared of. And here's what glues me to the book. I find everything very interesting. I don't know if it's necessarily a hit or a miss, but it's interesting. So first off, we got some cool stuff in the background. We got a Cyberfrog calendar. Um, I don't know if it's for 2022 or 2024. That remains to be seen. We've got Salamandroid, Godlike, sweet, and Stardust. Yes, Stardust definitely belongs up there, Nasser. There, so this little girl or lady is scared of something, and she sees something out her eyeball hole. Now, I don't see this when I'm looking out of my eye, so again, I think this is interesting. But honestly, this looks like what I would see looking sideways going out of the birth canal on the day of my birth. So I saw this and was like, oh no, side vagina. So the storyline of this one is super simple. I would say it's kind of fun just again playing with this visual. And then whoa, scary face. Yeah, it's kind of a creepy face. I dig it. Do you guys know that there are people who actually remember like being born? Just going back to this birth canal thing, like there are people who actually have vivid memory of being born, and as you can imagine, it's pretty horrifying. Just a little aside there. So then we got this story called "Don't Open the Box," and look, I'm going to be honest here. So this story, I think, beat for beat, is probably the best one, but it's also the one that made me the angriest. Okay, and here's why. Uh, I know Nasser's a movie buff. That guy is always posting up like, "Yo, I got this big box of Blu-rays. Check it out." I know he's a horror buff because he's making these horror comics and he's buying those horror films, right? I know he reads. I know he watches. So I read this story and I was like, I have seen this somewhere and I know exactly where. There's a movie called Tales from the Dark Side. It's a compilation horror film, and there's a story, and I had to look this up because I was like, is my memory playing with me? It's called Lover's Vow, and basically there's this gargoyle that looks in at an artist when he's like painted and stuff, and then one day the artist's friend sees the gargoyle, shoots at it, but he gets like torn to pieces. The artist sees that happen, but then the gargoyle's like, if you don't tell anybody about what you've seen, I'll let you live. But you must never tell them, ever. And he's like, okay, cool. Take that deal, right? Then he meets a lady, develops a life with her. They have kids. And he doesn't tell anybody until one day he finally tells her, and she's like, why did you tell me? Why'd you have to tell me? Oh no, she's the gargoyle. And then she and her kids rip the dude to shreds and then fly away. And I think that's probably the best part of the movie. It's the story that stuck out to me the most, and I think it's widely regarded as the best part of the film. Um, so when I read this story, I was like, this is exactly the same story. So, not accusing nobody of nothing, all right? Sometimes the art is inspired, you don't realize where it comes from. But Nasser, I know you be watching them films. Anyway, don't open the box. Make some subtle changes to that story. Again, beat for beat, I think this story does the best job um, in this book. Even above probably Charlie Finds a Friend. this This is the point I'm coming to. Like, what is that? That ain't natural. I know she's a demon, but that ain't natural. That is some bolted on booty. I don't. Who your plastic surgeon? What's his number? This is. I mean, like, whoever made this artistic decision, Jason, Nasser, what kind of films are you watching? Because You've been watching those AVN award-winning compilations, and I think you got to stop. You got a problem. Anywho, this demon lady, she has intercourse with a guy. Is this YouTube appropriate? And she says it's consensual. Doesn't look like he is. He looks like he's asleep the entire time, but I don't know. Would you be cool with this? Maybe. She ghosts. No, there's, no taxi fare there. Um, Anywho, she's a servant of the demon, and she's prostrating herself here. Like, gosh, just like, look at, what is that? That's that's modeled after a fruit. This ain't that that ain't no normal booty. But she's saying, this dude's real good. I don't see the part where she actually asks the devil to uh, allow her to take human form and enter the earth. But I guess, I mean, the devil knows all things, so he allows it. And she gets a normal life with the guy. She becomes a blonde, as you will. And they, hit it off. They get married. They have a child, right? Um, but the caveat is that there's this box. And he can't open it because it contains her true self within. So he's like, yeah, I totally won't open it. They get married. They have a nice car. What time period are these stories taking place in? And, they go have sex at a hotel, I think. But this little box, it keeps doing things to get this guy's attention, putting down portraits. It keeps splooshing his scrunch. It's scrunched his sploosh. I think a splort would have done well here. Um, and finally he's tempted to open it because, I mean, the box basically just says like, "Yo, you want to hit that fat fake ass," and he's like, "For sure," but it's empty. There ain't no booty in it. And she's like, "Oh no, honey, run! Daddy, I'm going to eat you." And they tear him to shreds. So you see what I'm talking about. I mean, it's the story I described earlier. There's a little excerpt from Job. That's cool. I dig it. Um, any thoughts on Job, chat? Any yeah, so the major changes being like there's a demon. There's just one kid. I think in the story there were like three. But I mean it's mostly the same. Um, yeah, so Nasser, you got some splaining to do. And this story is probably the shortest and made the least sense. I don't I mean it it only makes little sense because there isn't much revealed. Um, I guess like simplistically it could make sense. So there's a guy with a surgeon mask chasing this lady. She got that bolted on booty too. Oh, I have figured out the storyline. This is her plastic surgeon, and he's like, "Yo, you need to pay for that ass. What is going on here? Pay for it. That booty ain't free." And she smashes him under a bookcase. And happy ending, right? Wrong. There's another one. Oh my gosh. See, I don't get it. But look, it's all like really well drawn. Um, you know, Nasser can get the art. It's no problem. And then he has a big old thank you page with EVS and some other people. I don't mean to say that. I mean, wait. Oh, I know Pete Callan. But I don't know. Not too many names I recognize. It could also just be the whiskey. But then this is Comics Wellspring. This is where you can get this stuff printed. So overall, what are my thoughts? Interesting. The art is, like really well done. Stories are they are either passable to what to just um potentially plagiarism. I don't know. I'm not gonna call it. I'm not gonna call it. Um, will I keep buying from Nasser? Yes. Here's why. I can expect to get the books in a timely fashion. We are operating in COVID times, right? There are paper shortages. There are printers being shut down. But Nasser still got this book to me in good time, as well as that other little German Nosferatu thing. uh, so Nasser delivers, and this is what I would expect from somebody who's, just young and kind of starting out, putting out their own stuff. Like I said, it's interesting, it's fun. I got a good laugh out of it, if anything. You know, that's not a compliment. That's awful. Gosh. Anywho, um, oh, and I almost forgot to mention, Nasser actually has another campaign up right now. It's called Creepsters. It looks like it is a black and white book, 86 pages. It's not bad, and it's only $25. You can get the digital, of course, for $10. And he's got some plush doll. That's not my thing. I'm not gonna do it. But if you like that little cool collectible, you want that, you can get a book, an ash can, get all sorts of stuff. I mean, check it out. If you like this, and like I said, I think Nasser stuff is pretty fun. It's not. I'm trying to compliment here. It just comes off as negative. No, 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 no. It's not awful. It's not bad. It's kind of fun. It's it's got a lot of levity in it despite the subject matter, and I think that's what we're getting here with Creepsters. Creepsters is something like, I don't know, Gremlins, but also like Critters in a way. So if you like that kind of vibe, sort of I don't know. I guess it's like Critters meets E.T. I guess that's basically Gremlins. I don't know. But it looks like fun. Check it out. If you like it, go ahead and back it. Any hisnit, if you like this video, then, physically demonstrate that by hitting the like button. If you subscribe to the views expressed in this video, then, manifest that by subscribing with the button. If you want to, I don't know what to say about the bell. Just ring the bell. Like you want updates. I put these out once a week. It's not that much. It's not that much time. Anywho, I've got something planned for Halloween. It's not necessarily very Halloweeny, but I'm looking forward to it. Anyway, look forward to more videos like this, more shorts on Good Stuff Comics Gator's channel, and all sorts of interesting stuff. There's some stuff coming down the pipeline. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say for tonight. Adios.